People of African Descent New Thought Group proudly present Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change. Our partner, New Thought Media Network, is offering this interview series to highlight some of the luminaries who will present at this amazing event. For more information, go to padntg.com. Stay tuned for a wonderful interview. Peace and blessings.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited and overjoyed to be here with Rev Charline Manuel with us today. I'm Reverend Elzia Sekou, Senior Minister at CSL Denver, and we are here conducting these interview series for the second Celebrating Our Soul conference, where this year we're looking at changing consciousness and uplifting social justice within our community. And I can't even begin to tell you all of the stuff that Reverend Charline has done. So I'm not even going to try because I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to turn it over to her to let her give us a little background of her and her journey. And then we're going to jump right into this thing. So Reverend Charline, I give it over to you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on this interview, and it's an honor to be a part of the Celebrating Our Soul conference, the second one that people of African descent for New Thought that we're doing, and I'm excited. I was at the one a couple years ago, and it was like a family reunion, and so I have great expectations of the connections that we will have when we meet together again for the conference, August 1st through 4th. I'm a unity minister and have been for nearly, 30 years. I every time I say that, I go like, wait, let me check the dates again. But 30 years as a unity minister, served in pastoral ministry. And a lot of the work that I do now is working with church boards, and helping them. I was guided, I should say, that I needed to work with other leaders in their community to help them foster a sense of community and harmony at the leadership level and learn how to lead with wisdom and compassion. And yes, the two can meet in the middle, wisdom and compassion. So the work that I do now is very much related to that. I also serve on several boards. I did just complete 8 years on Unity World Headquarters Board, very active in the Unity movement. And I also serve now as the co-vice chair of the board for the Parliament of the World's Religions. And that takes a lot of my time as well. I still teach for Unity's urban school, and I do that teaching online. So I manage to keep things in the air. And then I'm an author. I'm just about to release my 9th book. It'll be coming out in September. So I managed to keep pretty busy, but I love the idea of the conference that we're doing. I love New Thought. And this is just such a great opportunity to be in community with people who are about changing, consciousness, changing the world, starting with ourselves. So it's an honor to be with you today. And I can't thank you enough for this opportunity.
Wow. I am just honored to be here to pull some of that wisdom, and before we got started, we were just comparing notes of where we were from, and you shared that you were from, Motor City when it was the real Motor City. And, I look at that because that was one of the original Black Meccas, if you will. Yes. I believe, I like to say. And, one of the things in New Thought of African Descent that I think this conference is looking to do, we're going across the spectrum. there's unity, there's CSL, there's divine sign, there's UFEL. We are looking at all of the different ways and perspectives that this teaching shows up in our community to empower us and to give us the impetus, if you will, to do for self, as someone might say, and to tap into a consciousness of spiritual greatness and deal with some of the problems that we're faced today. So in that light, you know, what are some of the misconceptions you think people may have about social justice and uplifting our consciousness in a vernacular of spiritual teachings, if you will?
Yeah, and you know, that is something that I wrestle with, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, we're living in a time where change is happening so rapidly. And if we really look at the changes that are happening in the outer, there's a lot to be concerned about where social justice is concerned. There's a lot happening that is really, you know, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Well, there are some of us feeling that it's not bending fast enough, and that we have been pushing and pushing and pushing the arc and working to make the arc move. And still, we're in a time where it just feels like, on the purely human level, that wow, things are just not going the way we had hoped that they would and that they could, and the way that so many before us have worked to bring about the kinds of change that still needs to be done. And in fact, even, you know, taking us back, when you think about some of the things that's happening in the political news, or some of the very rights that, you know, those who have gone before us have been stripped away. And here we are, you know, coming in a generation after, you know, the people that went before us and worked on civil rights. Here we are, the children of those leaders, saying, okay, we still got the torch. We got to keep carrying it. It's not done. It's not done. We were talking earlier, and I mentioned that I served on the board of Unity World Headquarters for 8 years. Well, I dare say that, you know, the work that I ended up being involved in, which is diversity and inclusion at Unity, Johnny Coleman was doing that 50 years ago. And then here I am still saying, okay, but, you know, we got to keep it going. We got to keep it moving. We got to keep it pushing, because it ain't done yet. So there's a lot. Right. Some of the misconceptions you ask about social justice is that it can't be done. And those of us who know it must be done cannot yield to a mindset that says, you know, we give up, we quit, we, you know, let things happen the way they are. It's time to even go deeper, dig stronger, and keep that sense of working together that we build, as in when we have a conference such as we're having August 1st through 1 through 4 at Unity Village. When people come together who are conscious and committed to change, that's our best shot. That's our best shot at making a difference. The swell of that consciousness of the minds and hearts of those who are saying, you know what, we still here and we still working, and we're going to continue to do the work.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. And when I think about that in the container of what you said up front in terms of family reunion, right? So, you know, from the African tradition or from the African diaspora tradition, one of the key things a couple of the key things that are pivotal is storytelling, music, and movement. Because there's that understanding that when those three things come together, there's an energetic thing that happens in the body, in the mind, in the soul, that spurs you on to action because it's pure. It's not leaning towards the left or the right. And that's what I love about this conference and and bringing forth all of the different perspectives of the circle, if you will, to look at how do we begin as a people in a greater, that take part in a greater society. How do we own our own skills and our own things that we need to work with and put it forth in a meaningful way? And I think this is a perfect opportunity to do this, and it's almost like getting together a new thought African American think tank, the beginnings of a think tank of how do we come up and strategize. I'd like to hear what you think about that, how that might sit and use this as that catalyst.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad that you said that, because I think one of the things that is that's missing, I will say, from the larger field of consciousness, and that is remembering the importance of critical thinking, remembering and relying on the importance of critical thinking. And I say that because we live in a time where our children are being educated by what's on TikTok and YouTube. So, and God help us. I mean, the devices that we have, and I'm not against devices because I got a lot of them, but the devices that we use, we don't have to think the way we, maybe some of us who are older, way we used to have to exercise that brain muscle. I remember, in being 5 years old and my mother sending me off to school. Before she sent me to school, I had to be able to recite my telephone number, my address, my mother's full name, my oldest sister's name, I had stuff I had to memorize, and it stuck. Now, if I lose my phone, I know one phone number. One. Shame on me. But the point I'm making is that we have, as a culture, as a society, allowed our brains to go soft. And so other people think for us. So what that shows up like is people get on the news and they say things that are not true. And the masses kind of believe it because they're not thinking for themselves. They're not thinking, well, wait a minute, you're saying this, but this is what it looks like. No, that doesn't sound right. We're not challenging those who are our leaders because we're using that ability to come together and really do some critical thinking. Now, if we had this think tank of this incredible group of folk, and I say folk that we have at our convention, and just imagine if we draw on that wisdom, the wisdom from our teachings and the wisdom from our culture. You touched on it, and the wisdom from our culture. So much of for Black folks, a lot of our culture has been lost because we're trying to do the thing that we need to do because what other people said, this is what you need to do. So we've lost some of what our cultural understanding is of wisdom and connection and community and using all of ourselves in terms of our creativity, our music, our ability to not only just tell a story, but to weave a story, to weave it, let it flow. And then what happens when you weave a story, the wisdom and the creativity that may not have been embedded in the story grows out of the story. And you can't help but say, wow. So absolutely. One of the things that I love about this conference is it gives us a chance to, as it says, to really celebrate our souls. There ain't nobody out there celebrating our souls. So we need to celebrate our own souls. We need to celebrate our own souls and celebrate each other for the love and the kindness, the friendship, the wisdom, the joy, the intelligence, the fun, the spirituality that we bring to civilization, that we bring to humanity. We need to own that, celebrate it, and then acknowledge it in each other, because we're not going to get that anywhere else. We're not going to get it in its true form. And that's how we grow. And that is, I will say, that is talking about social justice. And that is how I say what may be missing from our social justice work. I know so many people who do social justice work, and quite frankly, they're exhausted.
Yes.
They're exhausted. Yes. They have been, on picket lines, and they've been writing emails. They've been writing letters. They've been showing up for policy meetings, trying to get policies changed, showing up, at those kind of events, trying to network with people who can make a difference. And then to see things that happen in our news that just kind of act like that's, too bad.
Yeah.
And I just know so many people who are on the social justice trajectory, and they're working hard, and there's a lot of frustration there. So we need to build each other up. We need to say, hey, bro, hey, sis, don't give up. Hang in there. If we need to talk, we need to chat, we need to chill, we need to dance, we need to sing. We need to go, sit under the tree in the backyard and have some Kool-Aid, whatever we need to do to restore ourselves. If we need to just hold hands in the silence, whatever it is, we've got to support each other, because it can be exhausting when you're trying to do the work, and then you turn on the news and you get crazy, 5.0. So this conference really gives us the gift of connection, the gift of community. I'm keynoting Thursday night, and I'm under the relationship track, and so that's, for me, that's the gift. That's the gift. The we. It's the we. It's not I, it's not you, it's we. We in this thing together. We need each other. We care about each other. We got to show each other that we matter to one another. And that's part of what the beauty of this conference gives us an opportunity to do.
I love that too from that. Oh yeah. And anybody that's watching now, watching this should be excited and figure out how to be there, because one thing you're talking about relationships, and given that we are a budding community, i.e. the African American or the African descent community within New Thought, it's depending on your environment, you may not see many look like us in the audience or in the community, but here we get a chance to see ourselves as ourselves, and we see our luminaries and our wisdom keepers and all these different ways that this thing shows up. And it's just like, you were talking about that story, and I growing up, I remember the teacher would sit in front of the class and read the storybook to us. And we didn't have the video, and we didn't have the sound effects. And so I had to cultivate in my mind what the teacher was reading and begin to create a world or create an environment. And that's what we're hoping everyone can tap into as we have these master teachers and these keynote speakers and music and youth providing us with the backdrop of cultivating our soul and cultivating a vision for this teaching in our community. And I think, that helps us, as you said, develop critical thinking, because I got, you telling a story and you say, it was this or that. I got to be critical about, well, what is this and that? How do they go together? So, with that in mind, how do you think we can utilize, or what are some of the things we can utilize this opportunity for, to begin, not that it hasn't already taken place, but to further foster this idea and environment of collaboration, like an African village that comes together with people from different tribes, if you will, to celebrate our greatness and to share our wisdom? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that in the context of your relationship building.
Well, absolutely. So making connections with one another is a great first step. Certainly being there, being a part of the conference, but coming with a sense of bringing our whole self to the experience and being willing to be in a space where we are open and receptive for allowing others to be with us as well. That it's a two-way sharing. I'm here to give and I'm here to receive, and opening ourselves up in that way. I think, because a lot of times people go, I used to be a conference junkie, because I love to learn stuff. So I go to a conference, I take my notebook or nowadays my laptop, and I'm getting the information. I'm going to write it down, and then I'm going to take it home, and then I'm going to put it right there. What is that? So the idea is to leave this conference, and this is part of what I'm going to talk about. I don't want to tell you too much, because then when I talk Thursday night, they can be saying, "Wait a minute, she already said that." Like, but part of this is being willing to stretch beyond ourselves, to reach beyond ourselves, and touch others and allow them to touch our lives, and then take that with us. It can't just end at the conference and say, okay, I'll see you in 2 years when there's another conference. There needs to be connections that we make that then become small partnerships and collaborations, so I can help you and you can help me. I'm a part of your life. You're a part of my life. I get to hear your story. You get to hear my story. Your business becomes one that I support, and you support my business. So, we come together in that way, and that's when we really start to make a difference. Otherwise, we're here, we enjoy the music, we're going to laugh a lot, we're going to eat too much, there's going to be some dancing, that's going to be all well and good, and we go home. But we are no longer, we no longer really have that, and I'll say luxury, we no longer really have that luxury, because if we look strictly on the human aspect of the trajectory to where our country and our world is going, to come together and commune in the way that we're doing, it might not be as possible for that to happen if we continue down that track. So in order for us to avoid that, we've got to start building relationships and connections right now, and making sure that we've got people, so that your people and my people call your people and your people call my people. But then it turns out it's all the same people. We're all in this thing together. Owning that sense of we're working together more than, probably ever before in our history in this country as people of color, people of African descent, more than ever before. There is so much at stake, that we can't afford to sit back and say, well, I'm gonna do my little thing over here in this corner, and hope I'll be all right, and I hope you'll be all right too.
I'll pray for you.
It's too late for that. I'll pray for you. Yeah. Put your name in the prayer box. Send me a text if
You
you
know,
want me to pray for you.
exactly. And I, one thing I'm thinking about, and I'm remiss, and I got to find my phone and find a couple of people's number who I got last time, who I promised would stay in touch. That I am remiss, but we should each have a concept or idea that we connect with 2 to 3, not too many, just 2 to 3 people that we don't know, or we don't know as well as we would like to. Spend some time together, exchange numbers, and make an agreement. I'm going to
Yeah,
call you, or you call me every other month just to check in,
yeah.
and
Just to
and
check
and
in.
as you said, support you, and you support me, because if we just go there and feel good, like you said, and eat and come back home, that's not building relationships. And when you look at all of the things that are in front of us, from the climate to the politics to the education to whatever, time to talk is kind of gone. It's time to act now. And so we need to
Exactly.
begin those coalitions.
Exactly.
And so,
Building those connections with people that, um, so that you have a place to go.
yes.
And there are times when, doing whatever work that we do, and we sit and we go like, oh my God, who can I call? You
Mm-hmm.
know, who can I connect with? Who can help me with this, or tell me about this, or connect me with so and so, or connect me with somebody who does this kind of work, or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
so that would be the thing that we need to shift in our consciousness as a people, because
Mm-hmm.
we come from a culture where community is everything. Community, family is everything. And
Everything.
yet, when we kind of do what we do out here in the world, we kind of set that aside. Sometimes, one of the things that used to really get me a lot when I was a pastor of a church, and I'd have somebody, come and talk to me. They talk about problems in the family, family, or something. And they say, "Well, I ain't talked to my mother in 10 years." I'm like, "What? You haven't talked to your mother in 10 years? Sit down. We gotta talk." Or here's what: I don't talk to my sister no more because she da da da, and I don't talk to my brother because he what?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? We
Yeah.
come from a culture where we had to be connected. We had to stay together. Yeah, we had our arguments. We worked that thing out, and we keep doing what we do. You
Yeah.
don't you don't get to fall out with people. You
Yeah.
don't get to fall out with your people. We must continue to build that groundswell up of that big community, that beloved community. You don't get to be a part of a beloved community talking about, oh, I don't talk to her no more because she da da da, or they get on my nerves. So we can't do that. That's somebody else
Mm-mm.
trying to distract us from being who we are and being the best of what we can bring to an
Yeah.
opportunity to make change. Because we can't make change by ourselves. We can't make change with, a seeds, planting seeds of separation and, you know, um, you know, division. We can't move forward like that. We I think
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of one of Martin Luther King Jr.'s
Yeah.
talks, said that's just the great distraction. Y'all fight amongst yourselves while we do this thing
Yes.
over here to destroy democracy. Y'all keep arguing with yourselves. Y'all keep not
Mm-hmm.
getting along. Y'all do that,
Mm-hmm.
and we're actually going to, destroy the planet, if you will. Not, play it,
Yeah.
not,
Yes.
don't pay
Oh, without
attention.
a doubt.
Ain't no climate change. Y'all just keep over there talking and doing what y'all do. It's a great distraction strategy. And we can't
Yeah.
we can't afford to
Yeah.
be a part of that. That's somebody else's game. We can't be
No.
a part of that.
Right. And that's key because we need to know our strength. At my job. I'm one of the co-leads of the Black Professional Resource Group, and we're doing a book review, a book club on this one book that talks about by Greg Harden, how to make sanity out of the insane world. And he talks about this whole thing. How do you survive in a place that looks like it's about to destroy itself? And it's like you have to be resilient. You have to be honest. You have to, know what your value proposition is. If you're the quarterback, you got to come in and say, look, I'm the quarterback. I can't block nobody. I can't catch no pass, but I can throw it. If you block long enough and you run fast enough, I'll get it to you. And that's what we got to begin to do when we look at our community and our skill set and what we're going to present to the world, and more importantly, to ourselves and our family and our broader African diaspora community. And
Absolutely.
So I tell you what, let's take a quick 1 minute break to just do a quick commercial break for those who may still be on the fence about whether to attend this, and then we're going to come right back. So just hold on. We'll be right back. Take us out.
Time waits for no one. It's true. Regular registration for Celebrating Our Soul has closed. Fear not. Late registration is available. While there are limited seats, there is room for you if you register now. Go to padntg.com and register, and you will experience phenomenal live music, unique masterclasses, scrumptious food, and loving fellowship. Don't delay. Do it today. Go to padntg.com and join us at Celebrating Our Soul, consciously creating change. See you there.
Hey, everybody. We're back with Rev Charline Manuel, talking about this year's Celebrating Our Soul that's going to be taking place in Unity Village, August 1st through the 4th. We used to have a saying in the community, be there or be square. I don't want to date myself, but I'm going to say it, be there or be square, because it's going to be a great time for us to get together and celebrate each other and come up with strategies and all different manner of how we get this idea of new thought principles, which is throughout our history, really, to be more engaged and fully embodied in our community. And in that vein, I like to get your input on, how do we begin to what are some strategies to better engage our community with these teachings and with this idea of social justice?
Yeah, and it's, you would think that's really that would be really easy to do, since there is so much injustice that we see on a regular basis. You would think that, wow, it's, because you could get up any day of the week and just pick your issue. There's no shortage of things to work on if you are about, wanting to see justice in the world in some area. You can just pick your issue. So you would think it would be the easiest thing to do. So I say, first of all, and because the work that I do, I work with leaders. And so I want to first of all remind them of the importance of feeding their soul, feeding their inner guide, their inner wisdom, because that is what it takes to be a leader now. You've got to be fortified up. You have to be, and know, as you said earlier, know your strengths, know what your purpose is, know your value proposition. Make sound simple. When I do a board training and I sit with a board, first of all, I ask them, we're in a circle, and I ask them, why are you here? Why are you here? This is a Saturday morning or a Friday night, whenever we're meeting. You could be, at the ball game. You could be taking your children to the park. You could be on vacation, but here you are. Why are you here? Why is this important enough that you're investing your time, your talent, your treasure, your resources, your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas? You're right here now. Why are you here? And once we really bring that out, get past the surface thing, like, well, I'm here because, they need me. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in here. Why are you here? And once we get to that, it's amazing what we can do when we understand and remember why we're there. Because it's easy to forget, because you can get caught up in the mundane kind of things. Oh, we're trying to raise money, and we need to get more people over here, and we need some volunteers over there, and we got a youth group coming in, and they want to do something that's different. You can get caught up in all of that and forget why you are there. And what I asked them to do was write down on a little card or put it on your phone, however it is I'm not totally digital. I still like print matter. So sometimes I'll use a 3x5 card, whatever it is, and write that down. And every morning when you get up, check yourself out and say, wait a minute. What's my purpose today? And then in time of prayer and meditation and discernment and devotion, however you start your day, to sit with that and say, okay, this is my purpose. Spirit, I'm open and receptive, and I'm willing to do this thing how you show me how it needs to be done today. Put me in front of the right people, put the right words in my mouth, put me into the right places where what my purpose is a match. Assign me this day, knowing my purpose. What is my assignment today, Spirit? And live from that place, because the distractions are loud. The distractions are heavy. The distractions are everywhere. And then we forget ourselves. We forget our purpose. We forget what is of deep value to us. And then we're off doing something else. And then we look up and say, wait a minute, what just happened? Well, that ain't where you're supposed to be, and that ain't what you're supposed to be doing. That's what happened. And one of the things that I do like about this celebrating our soul is, and that's such a, that's such a profound, if you just sit with the idea in prayer and meditation and discernment and think about, feel about, get in touch with what it means to celebrate your soul. We say it, but what is that about right here? What is that about that really touches that inner place and nourish it to the point of celebration? Man, when you get your soul celebrated, you done something for yourself. You done something for yourself and the people around you. When your very soul feels honored, loved, appreciated, respected, given the nourishment that it needs. When we celebrate our soul, and then here's the kicker: when you celebrate your soul along with somebody sitting next to you or in the same room, and they're celebrating their soul, and then we celebrate the soul that we create together. Oh,
I love it. I love it. You made me think about, one of the spiritual principles or spiritual practices that I used to use it a lot, and then I went away, but now I'm coming back to it more, is this whole practice of contemplation. Because within the idea of the spiritual practice of contemplation, it's not passive, it's active, right? I'm coming up with a thing, and I'm asking questions, or I'm allowing questions to come to me, and I'm trying to So I'm beginning to have this dialogue with spirit from this place of contemplating a issue or an idea or a relationship that needs whatever it needs. And so, you talked earlier about what's the assignment. Well, I can kind of, if I sit here and go through this, if I've forgotten, if my memory then got bad, I can go, ooh, that's what it was. That was my assignment. I need to get busy. And I can discern that, as you were saying, which I think is, those three things: understanding the discernment between things, contemplating how I get to that discernment point, and then coming away with an assignment, which I think will be a powerful thing at the conference if collectively we could come up with 1, 2, 3 might be stretching it, but I'll throw 3 out there. 3 things that, as a group of communities, as a group of individuals, we can commit to say, we're going to do ABC. One of the things, as we were talking earlier, I was at my fraternity's conference down in Tampa recently. And one of the things we did, we had members and chapters bring books that were banned in Florida on African American history, and we gave those out. Right? We had boxes of books on the so-called banned books on different African American historical figures, stories, yada yada yada, that said this information needs to be disseminated. That was one thing that we said we would do as a group. It'd be great if we can come up with one or 2 things like that at the end of this conference to say, we're going to come together, and this time next year or whenever the time is appropriate, we're going to do this. And I mean, that's how you engage.
Yeah. I love that. That is so powerful. Man, that is powerful stuff right there. That is exactly what we need. Because then that really does speak to, the clarity around our assignment.
Yes.
That speaks to the clarity around whatever is ours to do. That speaks to the clarity of that, because somebody else decided that you shouldn't read this book. That has nothing to do with what I'm guided to do. You don't need to read the book. Maybe I need to read the book. And so the very idea of having, what y'all did there is, bringing together those books. And I live in the state of Florida. God bless me. I live in the state of Florida. So yeah, that's one of those things that says, in the outer, larger community in this state and in our country, gosh, for the world for that matter, we need clarity on what is ours to do. Yeah. We need that clarity. And you only get that in discernment. You only get that in the silence. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, one of my favorite sayings from one of his books is, all power has its birthplace in the silence. And I take that with me. And so when I want power to do what I need to do in the outer, first, I need to sit in the silence, because that's where I'm going to get the power to go do what I need to do in the outer and do the assignment, do the work, find the connection that I need to find, the person I need to talk to, the people I need to talk to, the place I need to be. That's where I get that, by being in that place of discernment and silence and being still, and then letting spirit. Because if we're just out here hand-to-hand combat on the issues of the day, Black people gonna lose. We already know that, people. If we just hand-to-hand, Black people gonna lose. So you can't do that as your fight. Your fight needs to go getting that power from within first, and then let spirit say, okay, here's what you're supposed to be doing. Here's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do. This is what you do. And I love that. I love that. So as a collective assignment for the body of people who will be there at the conference is a phenomenal moment. I don't know if they have anything like that planned in the in the within the conference. And my Thursday night keynote is only 20 minutes. When I talked to Celeste, she told me, so you only have 20 minutes. 20
Right.
minutes, man, that's just two jokes in a scripture. What is that? So the set
Yes.
aside set aside some time where we can just be in discernment and silence and the kind of connection and I know you've had this as a spiritual leader. You've had that where you're in the silence and you're with folks who are also in discernment and silence and in that circle, in that place, and there is an energy field. There is an energy field that rises, man, and when that thing then starts to move and connect, and then we come together and say, okay, we know what to do. One of the books that I use in my training with boards is called The Power of One Accord. It's a book that I authored, and I use that in a lot of unity churches. First of all, use that with their boards. But that's my idea: is when we start out, our purpose is to create a synergy that comes from being in connection with each other in harmony. And then they want to go, well, we just want you to train us on what board's supposed to do. No, this is what you're supposed to do right here. You're supposed to be right here, be in sync with spirit and with each other. And if you do that, you'll be able to read the manual and do the governance things, and you got to do that, and that's good. But first, right here, get that discernment, get that energy, get that harmony that goes back and forth. And when spirit is flowing and moving and vibing, man, there's nothing like it. It gives us what we need. And my prayer is always that we as a people will remember that. And we get that from, some of us get that from our spiritual teachings, in New Thought. But I know, my mother, she wasn't New Thought. When I was a little girl, my mother was raised Baptist. But even still, my mother would say, what you need to do, girlfriend, when I did something I wasn't supposed to do, you need to sit over there in the corner over there, and you need to keep your mouth shut, and you need to figure out what's right for you to do. So sit down, shut up, and listen from within. And she was Baptist. She was Baptist. She said, before you, Miss, when she got upset, okay, Miss Thang, you running around there, you need to sit over there, sit down, shut up, go in and get some answers. Because what you doing out here, that ain't working. Don't fly.
No.
But isn't that the truth? Isn't that what we teach in our principles? That's what we teach.
Yes.
That's what we do.
Yeah, you bring to mind a phrase by one of our fellow New Thought leaders, Les Brown, and he makes this statement that says something like, if you don't have a larger vision for yourself, how do you expect someone else to have a larger vision for you? They may not even have a larger vision for themselves. So if you're waiting on them, you're in trouble. You got to cultivate in the silence, in the discernment, in the contemplation, your vision, your actions, your place in the world, and then you got to be about it. You got to be about it. And that's going to be, I think, especially in your talk on relationships, because we know, together we stand and divided we fall. So there in itself, there are relationships. I mean, that statement itself says relationships are prime. You could be the smartest, the brightest, the most talented, whatever. But if you don't have a relationship for somebody to introduce you to the right person, place, or situation for you to utilize that, it's going to go to waste. It's going to go to waste.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'm going to try to get all this in my talk on Thursday night. We'll see what happens.
Yes. And I've always find, we say, okay, this is going to be an hour, and we say, oh man, an hour, that's, and now an hour is almost gone. And we just been sitting there chatting and having fun and setting out platforms for things to do and things to experience, and why we need to be at Celebrating Our Soul on August 1st through the 4th in Unity Village. And I just want to ask, in this little time we have left, is there anything left? Is there anything else you want to share? I know you, I mean, like you said, you're a prolific author. You got 8 books or more. Probably working on another one. That's what authors do. And how do we allow you to just share one more thing or 2 more things with, especially as a leader of leaders, in terms of working with boards and how that can help us?
Oh, yeah, thank you for that. And yes, I do have a book. I have a book that's coming out in September. I was really trying to push up the publication date so I could have it with me when I come there in August, but that's not happening. But I do have a book coming out in September. It's called Shaping Hope. And we'll talk a little bit about that when I in my message. But, I serve on probably the most diverse board in the world, because I serve on the Parliament of the World's Religions, and there are 34 members on that board from different religions and around the world. And I have to tell you that the experience of being in the consciousness of people who come with different perspectives and different ideas gather together around a single mission that says, we just want the world to be a better place where people have human rights and they're treated well, and we take care of each other and we take care of the planet. That's it. We don't all have to agree on the little details of what your religion does, and I don't like how you do that, and you don't like how, confession or communion. That is not the conversation. The conversation is, as diverse as we are, the common ground that we have is, we just want the world to be a better place where everybody can live and have the opportunity to live their best life. That's it. And I have grown so much by being a part of a group like that. The little things that I thought would be an issue because I don't like this about that one's religion, I don't like this one about what they think, I don't like this one about, those things are so unimportant that the bigger gift is just being together. One of my favorite scriptures is from Psalm 133, verse 1, and it says, "Oh, how good and pleasant it is when all God's people live together in unity." In harmony, some versions say. That's it. So that's the place where I really try to live from. I want to be in spaces where there's harmony, where there's a common sharing of wanting the best for everybody. I want everybody to have, want their kids to be happy and go to good schools and get the education they need, because that's what I want for mine. And I want to live carrying that vision forward in wherever I am. And I think we, as a people of African descent, we are people of color, we are people who are in this country who didn't come because it was a favorite vacation spot. People who were forced to be here into this place and then decide, hey, let's make the best out of this thing. And we don't have to be in a place and get stuck in the fear, the worry, the anger that other people project on us for being here. Go figure that one out. We won't let ourselves engage in that.
Right.
Than that, we're stronger than that. We're more spiritual than that. We get who we are more than that. And whatever happens, however it happens, we want to be able to live from the highest and the best of who we are in every place that we go around the world, no matter who we're with or what their background is or what their orientation is, that's small potatoes. The truth is we are all here on this planet to live together, and that's that scripture to say to live together in harmony. Man, if we could just focus all of our energy on that, wow, we could figure out, homelessness. We could figure out, making sure everybody has food to eat. We could figure out how everybody gets a good education. We could figure out how people get a chance to enjoy life and have creative self-expression, whatever your talent is, find that talent. And if it's dancing, dance like nobody's watching. If it's singing, sing like you're singing to the world. If you're a writer, then write until your fingers get tired. Whatever it is, bring your best, because that is how we were all created, and that is that we're all need each other in order to be the collective best that we were created to be. So that's what I'm about. That's what I want to push. That's what I want to. Let's just all be our very best and put it out there, and then expect at some point that there's going to be that shift. But we've got to be willing to put in our work to make sure that shift happens, where more and more people are being and doing and the highest, the best of who they are. And then we begin to see a shift. Otherwise, humanity can really just, I don't even want to say the D word, and that's destructive, but, if the consciousness doesn't shift, I don't know, what will become of this particular iteration of the human race.
Well, I so look forward to Thursday night, August 1st, to be there, and I want to just close on the one thing you said that I think now is going to be prophetic. It's in that you recited that verse of, oh, how good and pleasant it is when humanity comes together in unity. So everyone, please come and join us at Unity Village, where we begin to take this idea of working together in a collective consciousness to address the things that we are faced with and that our children and grandchildren will be faced with, and help us develop a blueprint, some strategies, create some assignments for us to take forth to create this world that works for everyone and for all things. And when we do that, we're going to be so much better. We're going to be so much happier, and it's going to be a day of celebration. And I want to thank you, Reverend Charline, for being here with us today. I look forward, as I said, to seeing you in a couple of weeks. And if you haven't signed up, folk that are listening, go sign up. Try to get there in person. If you can't, get there virtually. But we want to thank you for watching, and we want to thank Reverend Charline for being here. We're going to close out, and we're going to say we're going to see you in a couple of weeks. Have a great evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This fantastic interview was just an example of the depth and content of those presenting at Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change. Go to padntg.com to register. Be there for it.